That's one of the great things about writing a book. I feel like it was the tough stuff, the hard stuff, the lean years of Anthrax was the most interesting things for me to be writing and be a part of. All the happy stuff and the triumphs and all that is great, but it was really digging into the tough stuff for me, which really, because it was really keeping me like this. We went through this. I can't even believe we went through this, and and this is. I felt like this is really going to engage people reading this book. People are saying you're really honest in it. People who know the tales and who are part of the stories. Some of them are even a little surprised on how honest, I am. But I kind of felt like if I'm not honest, then what's the point? I could just easily do a book of a whole bunch of fun stories, but that's kind of like what I do in my talking shows. The book, I didn't want the book and that to be the same thing. They're two completely different. I don't care what people think of me, whether that's called being thick-skinned or whatever it is, but I just don't give a shit. Of course, I appreciate that fans all over the world love Anthrax. Of course, I love that, but at the same time, that doesn't change how I, what I do, with the band or with my book, or it's just going to be what I have to do. When we took Living Colour on tour in the UK, they went over great every night. Whether or not people, and they hadn't broken huge yet, like Cult of Personality hadn't become the massive hit yet. They were definitely on people's radar. But in the UK, where we were selling out 5,000, 7,000, 8,000 seaters, and they're Anthrax fans coming to those shows, and Living Colour was going over in front of that crowd. So whether or not they even noticed they were black or cared, I don't know. No one ever said anything to me. They were just a great band doing their thing. But yeah, we did receive that Rip magazine in the mail with like their faces burnt out of the magazine cover, which is like, grow the like really? So the Public Enemy thing more so. Public Enemy, obviously, a little bit more abrasive than Living Colour, arguably, and that was a little bit tougher, I think, for people to swallow in general. Granted, the tour in the States, from a ticket sales level, did great, and but I think I could safely say there would be, I don't know how you assign a number to it, like I can't say 30% of our audience, but definitely a large part of our audience, I think, sat that one out. They sat out that song and the shows, and we didn't lose them, but I think it was more of a case of, we're going to wait for the next Anthrax record. And then what do? We get a new singer, and then we really then we did lose a lot of people at first. But the Public Enemy thing, for sure, I think a lot of our crowd said that was straight up, we're doing a rap song. We covered a rap song. It wasn't like I'm the Man where we wrote a joke thing. This was, we covered a rap song and we're doing stuff, Chuck and Flavor in the video and Terminator X. And then we took it a step further and we did a world tour together. Like I said, in the States it went great, in England it went great, Germany not so much. I gotta say, they were not ready for it. And even at one of the shows, I can't remember specifically which one in Germany, but there was a whole big neo-Nazi thing going on outside, and it was a little weird. I wish I could say it was like Circling the Wagons. I feel like from around 95, certainly from 95 through the end of the 90s into 2000, there weren't even that really many wagons to circle. Things got pretty grim. It was like, if I could give you like a visual to describe it, I kind of felt like it was the Old West and we were a tumbleweed blowing across like the road. Like we were a bit adrift at that point after Stomp got thrown in the garbage by Elektra, and it was tough. You had Pantera, like, was one of the biggest bands in the country at the time. Metallica was still Metallica, but after that, there wasn't much trickle down. Things got really hard for us. They got obviously harder. Slayer took it, Megadeth, everyone else that was around at that time, things did definitely get harder. The crowd shrunk, everything shrunk. It wasn't until the early 2000s when that new scene started to emerge, when bands like System of a Down and Slipknot, Lamb of God, bands like that, Machine Head, that was, I think, really what started to reinvigorate heavy metal again. And then I could say the wagon circled, because certainly by the mid-2000s, it was back in a big way.